simplify first. Always simplify first. If it's just addition or subtraction, simplify first. Okay? When you're multiplying, simplify last. Okay? And also when you're multiplying, the rules are outside together, inside together. See that as we go through some examples here. Multiplying, we want to simplify last. The reason we want to do that is because if we multiply two radicals together or square roots, we end up with a bigger number underneath the square root. We may have to end up simplifying again. So if we simplify first, then multiply, we end up with a bigger number. We got to simplify again. So why not just wait until the end and do simplifying just one time at the end of the multiplying? So that's all right. So let's look at example 2. Example G. 3 radical 7 times 10 radical 14. All right. So we're going to simplify last. And it's going to be outside together, inside together. So we're multiplying the outsides together. Numbers that are on the outside are 3 and 10. So 3 times 10 on the outside. And on the inside, we're going to multiply the insides together. 7 times 14. Okay. So that'd be 30 square root of 98. Do 7 times 14, get 98. Once you've done that, we want to simplify the square root, just like we were doing before. Okay, so simplify that 98. So we're going to break that down. We know it came from 7 times 14, so I'm just going to start there. And we know 14 is 7 and 2. Hey, there's a pair of 7s there. So what's that 7 going to do to the 30 out here? Times it. So 7 times 30, 210 square root of 2. Finish with that. Simplify last. It's your last step on the multiplying. Let's check this one. Negative 5 square root of 20 times 3 square root of 8. This one, we've done square root of 20 before. We've done square root of 8 before. So you're tempted to simplify those here at the beginning because you've done that before. But because we're multiplying these two together, we want to multiply first, simplify last. So outside times outside, or outsides together. So 5 and negative 5 and 3 multiplied together is negative 15. 20 times 8, 160. And then we want to simplify last. So after you've done that multiplication, you're going to simplify the square root of 160. I'm going to use 16 and 10. I could have used 20 and 8. It doesn't matter. 16 is 8 and 2, 4 and 2, 2 and 2, and 10 is 2 and 5. So I have one pair of 2s, 2 pairs of 2s, and then a 2 and a 5 that don't have a partner. So negative 15 times 2, negative 30 times 2, negative 60, square root of what? 2 and a 5, so that'd be 10 under there. So we're multiplying the negative 15 times this 2 and then this 2. That's where I'm getting negative 60. And then this 2 and this 5 don't have a partner, so they're left under here. We multiply them back together to get the 10 that's underneath there. Seven square root of 6 times 3 square root of 6. Again, multiply first, simplify last. So outside times outside. So what's on the outside? 21. On the inside? 36. Do we know the square root of 36? 6. So we really have 21 times 6 there, which is 126. That's it. Anytime that the square roots are exactly the same, the square root's going to go away. That's what ends up happening there, that you're going to end up with the same thing under here there without the square root. But simplifying last. All right. Now, we did addition and subtraction. We've done multiplication. Well, the next thing is combining those two in distributive property. So 3 square root of 15, parentheses, 2 square root of 3 plus 4. So distributive property, just multiply 3 radical 15 to both pieces on the inside. Okay, we're doing that multiplication, and then we're going to simplify last because there's multiplication in the problem. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're distributing 3 radical 15 to 2 radical 3. So distribute across there. 3 times 2 is 6. 15 times 3, 45. And then this 4 doesn't have a radical. So what does it multiply to? The 3 that's in the front. 12. So that'll be plus 12, and then the radical 15 comes with it. Now we need to do what we did with addition and subtraction. We need to simplify if possible and see if we can put some like terms together. They may not be like terms, but we still have to simplify. So 45 breaks down into 5 and 9, 3 and 3. There's a pair of 3s there. So that's going to turn into what? What's this first piece going to be? 18 square root of 5. 15 breaks down to 3 and 5, but both of those are prime, and there's not a pair of them. So it's just going to stay 12 square root of 15, and that is done. They won't combine because one of them is a square root of 5. The other one is a square root of 15. They're not like terms, so you're just going to have that. This is the correct answer, not what's in purple. What's in purple wasn't simplified. Okay, so you've always got to look to simplify your square roots. All right. Just a few more. Let's throw a negative in there. Negative 2 square root of 12. 3 square root of 8 minus 4 square root of 2. I'm just throwing some minus signs in there just to get some experience with that. Again, we're going to distribute negative 2 square root of 12 to both pieces. So negative 2 square root of 12 times 3 square root of 8. Negative 2 times 3. Negative 6. 12 times 8. 96. Good. And then we're doing the same thing here with the negative 2 radical 12 and the negative 4 radical 2. So it's negative, negative. So that negative times negative is going to be a positive. So it's going to be plus negative 2 times negative 4, positive 8. 12 times 2, 24. Okay. We're not done. We've got to simplify. Always looking to simplify. We see 96 and 24. We know those numbers can probably break down. We'll do that at 8 and 12. 8 is 4 and 2. 2 and 2. 12 is 2 and 6. 3 and 2. Hey, there's a pair of 2s there. There's a pair of 2s there. So that's going to be negative 24 square root of 6. Plus something. I break down this 24. 8 and 3, 4 and 2, 2 and 2. There's a pair of 2s. So that'd be 16 square root of 6. Are those like terms? Yeah, they're both radical 6s. So that means I can take negative 24 plus 16. which would be -8 square root of 6. So there we ended up with some like terms. Now we don't always do that, but this one was special. Ended up being that where we simplified down. Always looking to simplify before you quit. Okay. All right, let's go. 2 more examples. Yeah, 2 more. That's right. Yeah. Radical 2 plus radical 3, parentheses, and then another parentheses, radical 5 plus radical 8. All right. So this is like the stuff we did when we were dealing with polynomials and quadratics. We multiplied some stuff out. So how many distributive properties are there here? 2. 2 of them. We're distributing this first piece, the square root of 2, to both of those. Yep. And then we're going to work that out. And then we're going to distribute the square root of 3 to both of those and work that out. And then see if we can find any like terms out of that. So first one, square root of 2 times square root of 5. Square root of 10. And then the second one, square root of 2 times square root of 8. Square root of 16. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the distributive property for the other piece. And then we'll do all the simplifying at the end here. Radical 3 times radical 5. Radical 15. Radical 3 times radical 8. Radical 24. So pretty basic math there. Just putting it in the square root. Now we need to try to simplify those if possible. So I'm just going to do the factor tree for everybody. So the 10 is a 5 and a 2. Does that break down any further? No. So the square root of 10 is not changing. So I'm just copying it down then. What about square root of 16? Do we know the square root of 16? It's 4 and 4, so the square root of 16 has got to be 4, right? And you got 2 pairs of 2's, and that's where the 4 comes from. What about 15? 3 and 5, but it doesn't break down any further, so the square root of 15 is going to stay. 24. A lot of different ways to get 24. 8 and 3 is a good way. 8's 4 and 2. 2 and 2. I got a pair of 2's. So that's going to give me 2 radical 6. 2 radical 6. Are any of those like terms? 10 and 15 are not the same radical. They gotta have the exact same thing underneath the square root to be a like term. None of those are the same. It's not pretty, but that's the answer. We didn't end up with any like terms. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It's just the way it goes. Let's do one more of those double distributive property problems. Last one. 3 square root of 5 minus 6 square root of 8 times 5 square root of 12 minus 4 square root of 8. We've got numbers in front of the radicals and numbers inside that are normally would break down some. So we're going to multiply first and then simplify. So 3 radical 5 gets distributed to both of these pieces. So what's 3 radical 5 times 5 radical 12? 15 on the outside. What's on the inside? 60. Good job. Okay. 3 radical 5 times a minus 4 radical 8. Radical how much? 5 times 8. 40. Is that a plus or a minus sign between them here? Why is it a minus, Robert? Because this is a negative, right? Yeah, so that's why it's a minus sign. It's a positive 3 radical 5 times a negative 4 radical 8. That's why we're putting a minus sign between those. Okay, now do the other one. So we're saying a negative 6 radical 8 times a positive 5 radical 12. So that would be a what? What's on the outside? Negative 30. Good job. What's on the inside? 8 times 12 would be 96. We've seen that one already today. And then what's the last piece? 6, negative 6 radical 8 times negative 4 radical 8. Positive, what's 6 times 4? 24. And then it's 64 on the inside. Now we're going to simplify every one of these and see if we can get some like terms. May or may not. It doesn't matter. We still got to simplify them. Okay? 10 and 6 for 60. That's a good way to start. 10 is 5 and 2. 6 is 2 and 3. There's a pair of 2s. So that's going to be 15 times 2, which is 30. Square root of left on the inside there. Got a 5 and a 3 left over. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay. Break down to 40. A lot of different ways to get 40. I like 4 and 10. That's a pretty easy one. 2 and 2. 2 and 5. A pair of 2s. What's that going to be? The plus or minus between those, Ty? It stays a minus. It doesn't change signs just because we brought something out. That's good. Good job. Hey, now are these like terms?
No.
No, so we can't put them together anymore after that for these two. But we're going to go ahead and work these two, see if we can get those to look a little better. So 96. 8 and 12. 4 and 2. 2 and 2. 6 and 2. 3 and 2. So I've got 2 pairs of 2s. We're going to multiply negative 30 times 2, and then again times 2. That'd be the same as negative 30 times 4, which would be negative 120 square root of what? Got those 2 left over. Be a 6 inside of there. All right. When I see 64, what do I know about 64?
It goes in 8 times.
8 is the square root of 64, isn't it?
Yes.
So we don't even have to do the factor tree for that because we know square root of 64 is 8.
Yeah.
So we really have 24 times 8 right there. What's 24 times 8? Everybody knows your 24's times tables, right?
24.
192. 8 times 20 would be 160. 8 times 4 is 32. Add those together and get 192. Are there any like terms in this last purple line here?
Nope.
No, we got a square root of 15, square root of 10, a square root of 6, and then a regular number. None of those are like terms, so you're going to leave it just like that. There's really no such thing as descending order with radicals, so don't worry about what order it's in. Just make sure your signs are right on each piece. Out of that. Easy stuff. Just take some practice, simplifying and working from there. So.
Really well.
All right, guys. We didn't get a lot of time to work on this in class today, but you get started. I know
Thanks, Judge.
the first 6 of them you could do really fast because you don't have to break them down any. They already got a lot of terms in them. So tomorrow we'll take a little time to work on this, and then We'll probably maybe add division tomorrow.
All right.
But we'll take a little bit of time to work on this too.
I'm good. Like,
Yeah, you know your time tables, that helps you.
I just don't, I know, I just don't